I am Councilmember Emmanuel Remy, and the purpose of this hearing is to learn more about the Designated Outdoor Refreshment Area, referred to as a Dora, proposed for specific areas within the Arena District. A reminder to everyone that this hearing is currently live on YouTube and Facebook, and is also live and being recorded for rebroadcast on CTV, Columbus's Government Television Channel 3. The rebroadcast schedule is available at www.columbus.gov. Thank you and welcome to our main presenter this evening, Rory McGinnis, the Deputy Director of the Department of Development. I also want to thank and welcome the following city representatives who will be available to answer any questions during this hearing. Kelly Scacco, the Deputy Director of the Department of Public Service. George Speaks, the Deputy Director of the Department of Public Safety. Jason Nicholson, Special Events Coordinator with Rex and Parks Department. So on June 2nd, 2021, Columbus City Council received an application from Mayor Andrew J. Ginther to create a designated outdoor refreshment area, or a Dora, in the Arena District. The Dora would encompass Nationwide Arena, Huntington Park, and the new Crew Stadium. Lower.com Field. I'm sure they want us to use that name as much as possible. The Dora would allow residents to purchase alcoholic beverages from participating bars and restaurants and then take those drinks with them outside within the designated area. Patrons will be able to enjoy an alcoholic beverage outdoors within the designated area during all home Columbus Blue Jackets, Columbus Clippers, and Columbus Crew game days, beginning 3 hours prior to the start of the game and continuing until 11:59 on that same day. Residents are welcome to view the full application by visiting columbus.gov/Dora application. A copy of the application will also be available for the public to view in the Columbus City Clerk's office. So during this hearing, we will receive a presentation on the Designated Outdoor Refreshment Area from the City of Columbus, Department of Development, hear more about the proposed Dora from the perspective of our guest speakers, and allow public testimony. So without further ado, I'll turn the floor over to Rory McGinnis to give us tonight's presentation. Rory?
Chair Ramey, just wanted to thank you again for the opportunity to speak today and give you an overview of the mayor's application to create a Dora. I just wanted to double check here. I'm going to share the content here of the application and make sure that everybody can see that. Make sure. All right, is everybody seeing that?
Yes, sir. Looks good.
All right, that's the boundary map of the Dora. But before I start, I just wanted to thank my colleagues again at the city and in the Arena District for all their work on this effort. We've been working on this for quite some time, and it's been a really great collaborative effort, and excited to be talking about it today. Just first wanted to start off for people that may not be familiar about what a Dora is and how it's created. But the Ohio Revised Code gives mayors or city managers the ability to make an application to its legislative authority to specify an area of land within its jurisdiction to be exempt from certain open container provisions. In general, when the Dora is active, patrons can purchase alcoholic beverages from Arena District establishments and then consume the beverage anywhere within the Dora boundaries. However, the beverage must be in a Dora branded cup supplied by the establishment, and the person cannot bring the beverage into another establishment within the Dora that has its own liquor permit. More than 30 Doras have been created throughout the state since 2015, and in Central Ohio alone, Delaware, Grove City, Hilliard, Lancaster, Marysville, Powell, Worthington, and Dublin have all adopted Doras. Earlier this year, Cincinnati created a Dora in the Banks area that includes all of its sports and entertainment venues. While it's certainly not as unique as our Arena District, it is somewhat of a similar area. Just today, I actually communicated with the city of Cincinnati, and they said that the Dora so far has been very successful and going very well. The next part of that I wanted to talk about was kind of the reasoning of why. Why did we want to create the Dora? And I know you're going to hear from a lot of other speakers today that are really going to do justice to that why. But from the city standpoint, we believe that the Dora is really going to add to the vibrancy of downtown and provide more opportunities to Arena District businesses. Pedestrians are going to be able to travel more freely between the restaurants and multiple sporting venues and public open spaces where many public events are held. And each of these events draw a diverse group of residents and visitors to the Arena District in downtown Columbus. In terms of how the Dora gets created, or how the Dora will work, I should say, the Dora is going to be active 3 hours before every home Blue Jackets, Clippers, and Crew game until 11:59 p.m. The Arena District formed AD Dora LLC to provide management and operation services for the Dora. And the LLC is going to handle marketing for the Dora, the distribution of the cups, creation and maintenance of signage, and then any supplemental sanitation services that may be needed beyond what the city already provides in the area. Additional public safety for the Dora area is going to be provided by the sports teams, and there'll be extensive collaboration on every event that happens between the Department of Public Safety and the LLC and our sports teams to make sure that we have a safe environment for the public. We believe that the existing services that we already provide, along with the supplementary public safety and sanitation services, are sufficient to keep the Arena District safe and clean. Special events organizers will also be able to activate the Dora on non-game days by working with the Special Events Division of the city's Recreation and Parks Department. Jason Nicholson is joining us for our meeting today, and they will collaborate with the LLC. And a point that we really want to emphasize is that no additional city resources are going to be needed to operate the Dora. From the next step standpoint, as you mentioned before, Chair Remy, that on June 2nd, the mayor submitted an application to City Council. Per the Ohio Revised Code, the city clerk has 45 days to publish the public notice of the application, and council, if they choose to hold a public meeting, which is what we're doing today on the creation of the Dora. The public notice went last week, so that was on the 17th of June in the Daily Reporter. A minimum of 30 days after the public notice has been published, council can approve or disapprove the application in an ordinance or resolution. So the earliest that council could consider creating the Dora would be at the July 19th meeting of council. If council passes the Dora ordinance, then the city clerk provides the application and the ordinance to the Division of Liquor Control. And then Liquor Control does their final review and then issues the Dora designations to the applicable permit holders, and that process can take up to 3 weeks. So depending on how soon that council wants to act on an ordinance, the Dora probably could be in operation sometime in August, or it would happen later in the third quarter of this year. And Chair Remy, that's my presentation of the Dora, and look forward to any questions that you or others might have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rory. We appreciate the presentation. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit more? I mean, obviously you've been shepherding this along for the administration. This didn't just come up overnight. This, talk to me about when it first started, the discussions first started, and kind of the process that is evolved during the course of filling out this application. There was a lot of work done. And
sure,
so if you could share that with the members of public, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. So at the beginning of 2020, the Arena District had approached the city about looking into whether or not the city would be interested in creating a Dora. And we first, to respond to that, we created an internal working group that included multiple city departments, basically all the departments that have a pertinent role in that, city council, as well as the city attorney's office. And we first worked on determining, does a Dora, whether it's in the Arena District or anywhere else in the city, does that make sense for us? And we had come to the conclusion in early 2020 that it did make sense for all the reasons for why we want to create a Dora here, to add vibrancy to the city and create more business opportunities. Unfortunately, like everybody else in the world, COVID-19 happened, and that delayed further discussion in advancing the Dora until the end of last year, when we decided that we needed to plan for a day where the coronavirus wouldn't be as impactful as it has been. And so in early 2021, we had redoubled our efforts and worked with the Arena District and our departments to put together the application. And in the process of doing that, we reached out to the Columbus Downtown Commission and briefed them. And then we also went to the Columbus Recreation and Parks Commission to get their approval to include McPherson Commons into the Dora.
I know there was also some discussion about including North Bank. Is that correct?
There was some discussion early on about that. I think, between the Arena District and our city departments, in the end, it was determined that we wanted to hold off on that for now. One of the things that I want to make sure that people understand is that the way that the boundaries are set up now are not the boundaries that have to exist forever. These are boundaries that can be changed over time. We need to go through the same process that we did to create this. So we would need to do a public notice and work through council to amend those boundaries. But that can certainly be done over time. And I think all the parties involved felt that in an initial phase of this project, that these were the boundaries that we felt comfortable doing at this time.
There's also some parameters. I mean, Columbus can only have 3 of these, correct? Just based on our size and under the current code within ORC. But there's also size parameters for how big they can be, and they have to be contiguous areas, et cetera. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. So the council ordinance, or not council, it's the Ohio Revised Code Ordinance is 4301.82. It is what outlines all of the requirements that are needed to create a Dora. And so one of the items that's in there that says that a Dora cannot be larger for a city of our size, larger than 300 acres. The Dora that we're proposing is just a shade under 20 acres. And so it could be expanded in the future. At the same time, the legislature allows for cities that have more than 50,000 people the ability to create 4 total Doras. So if council decides to create this Dora, the city could have an additional 3 Doras created unless the legislature decides to increase that number or decrease that number.
And I know, like, for instance, the Dora in Bell Fountain, which I've been through, is all of downtown. So, certainly allows people to stroll, shop, et cetera. All of these are designed differently. I believe the one up in Dublin, for instance, is enacted on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Is that to your knowledge correct?
To my knowledge, that's correct. And as you said, they all are different. I know that the Dora in Cincinnati is 7 days a week. It's 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. every single day. The city can change the hours of operation for the Dora. If we were to do that over time, that we would need to come, the administration would need to ask council through a resolution or ordinance to adopt that change to the hours that the Dora operates. So the hours that it operates now are not the hours that it needs to operate forever, but that's how that process is handled. One other thing I was going to mention is that the Dora is active once it's created for 5 years. After 5 years, it needs to go essentially through a reauthorization process and follow the same process that we've taken to create this. So we need to do another application. We need to do, if council decides, another public hearing, and then do the public notice and the 30-day waiting period, and then council needs to adopt that. So there's over time, the Dora can evolve.
Since you seem to be our chief Dora expert on the line tonight, I want to, maybe dispel some perceptions. One of which is that this could turn into a Mardi Gras free-for-all. And so talk a little bit about, obviously the signage, the type of security we're going to see, et cetera. I mean, there's going to be visible security throughout the entire zone, correct?
Yeah. So, one of the things that's, that is nice about introducing a Dora in the Arena District is that there is a long history of hosting lots of events in the area, whether it's the sporting events or it's large community events. Each of those events has a strong police and security presence there. The way that the Dora is designed is also kind of makes it easier to prevent some of the negative effects that I think people get concerned about. And so, for instance, if you purchase an alcoholic beverage at an Arena District establishment, you can take it out of the establishment only in a branded Dora cup. And then you can consume that beverage anywhere within the Dora, but you cannot take it into another venue that has a separate liquor license. And so in order to, purchase another beverage, you'd have to go into another establishment. Really, the idea for the Dora is to just, it's not to create some of those negative perceptions that you would hear about. It's really to make it easier for people to move freely through the Arena District and enjoy the sporting events and events and establishments that we have. Chair Remy would also, welcome my colleagues in George Speaks might be able to give you some additional perspective on the public safety side of things as well.
Oh, I was going to call on him next. So, okay. Director Speaks, do you have any additional comment in regards to the security and safety of the area?
Absolutely, Councilman Remy. Thank you. Well, let me stress that the public safety of those who live and work in the Arena District and those who visit the Dora is simply paramount. As Rory said, our Division of Fire and our Division of Police have worked with the Jackets and the crew, the Clippers, for many, many years in order to provide that incredible and very safe experience for those who are both outside and inside of a stadium or arena. I'm sure that you all have noticed that there's always a strong contingent of safety forces at every major sporting event in Columbus. And with the creation of this Dora, we'll be enhancing our safety plans to ensure a continued safe and fun experience. Specifically, at the expense of the home team, or perhaps teams when multiple events take place at the same time, additional police officers will be assigned to patrol the Arena District and the Dora boundaries. Now, the number of police officers will vary depending on the projected crowd size. Again, this has always been the norm, and we work very closely with our great teams to determine the optimum number of police officers, and that simply varies depending upon the event or multiple events. And I would just like to stress that on behalf of public safety, I'd like to thank everyone who's helped in the creation of this proposal. There's been many hours put into this, and for making public safety such an integral part of this enhanced experience for those who live and work in the Arena District, and for those fans who visit the Dora.
I think it's also important to note, and Rory, you can talk about director, you can talk about it, about a little bit more work that Columbus has to do, and that our council has to do, in that we have to repeal some of our open container laws as it relates to the Dora, so that it matches the ORC, the Ohio Revised Code. So again, there's going to be signage that's going to clearly demark, where these boundaries are. The open container laws won't apply within the Dora. However, you step outside those boundaries, they would apply. So could you talk about that?
And let me just state that the open containers law do not apply with respect to the approved cup with, that has your beverage of choice. You cannot bring in your own beverages in the Dora. That beverage must be purchased at a restaurant, bar within the Dora.
Got it. Anything to add?
Otherwise, quite frankly, that would be open container.
Understood. And let's talk about the cups for a moment, because as environmental chair for the city of Columbus, one of the requests that I had in this application was that they be biodegradable of some sort. And so happy to report that the applicant has agreed to that, and we will ensure that any future application has the same requirements. So just a step in the right direction to further our sustainability goals within the city of Columbus. Let's see. I don't want to miss the opportunity for Assistant Director Scacco to speak if she has anything to add. Or Deputy Director, sorry if I messed up your title.
That's okay. Good evening, council member. I would just add that there is a signage plan being developed by the Dora organizers that will be submitted and approved by our traffic management division here at the Department of Public Service.
Thank you very much. Do you have anything to add, Rory?
I don't. I just really appreciate the opportunity to be here today and be with my colleagues and talk to the public about what we think is going to be something that's really exciting for our city and for the Arena District and our sports team. So excited to be here and look forward to any additional questions that people may have.
Well, great. We are going to move into the next phase of this, the testimony this evening. We've got JD Kershaw from the Columbus Blue Jackets, John Glessing from Haslam Sports Group, Linda Logan from the Greater Columbus Sports Commission, and Ken Schnocky from the Columbus Clippers. So I would like to thank and welcome all of you this evening as we continue to enlighten the community about what a Dora is and how it will operate. And so I'll first ask JD Kershaw, the Vice President of Operations and Development for the Columbus Blue Jackets, to speak. JD, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And thank you for everybody's work and consideration of this project. As alluded to, it's been going on for a while now. So again, appreciate everybody's efforts. I'd like to just step back for a sec. 21 years ago, the arrival of the Blue Jackets in Nationwide Arena, I think, helped transform downtown Columbus. In the 2 decades since, Columbus has grown at an incredible rate and has a reputation of one of the most diverse, energetic, and welcoming cities in the country. The Arena District has been a big part of that. It's one of the great urban developments in the country with its unique housing and entertainment options, and serving as the home of many prominent businesses and now 3 professional sports teams in the Blue Jackets, Clippers, and Crew. As mentioned earlier, Dora districts have become more and more common, including numerous in Central Ohio communities, and we believe it will greatly enhance both the visitor experience and game night experience for not only those that call Columbus home, but those visiting from out of town as well, which we think is important. The Blue Jackets are excited to partner with everyone on this project and believe it will add to the vibrancy of our downtown, provide more opportunities for Arena District businesses, and draw a diverse group of residents and visitors to the Arena District and downtown Columbus. Thank you very much.
Thank you, JD. We appreciate that testimony this evening. Next, I'm going to turn it over to John Glessing, the Vice President of Strategy for Haslam Sports Group. Josh, I'm sorry, did I say John? I meant Josh. Sorry about that. Josh, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Chair. As the newest member of the Arena District in downtown Columbus, the Columbus crew are very excited for the opportunity to help extend the legacy that JD outlined, that was created just 21 years ago as the furthest west sports venue in the Arena District in downtown Columbus. And we think the Dora provides a great opportunity to extend the gate on a match day experience, to allow that match day to extend into the eastern part of the Arena District and create an opportunity for local businesses and restaurants to increase foot traffic on our match days as well as event days at Huntington Ballpark and Nationwide Arena. So we are excited about the opportunity to enhance the vibrancy of a match day for us and for our counterparts with the Clippers and the Blue Jackets, and create something really unique for visitors as they come to town for events to see a unique aspect of Columbus and partake in a really, really cool event day experience. So I'd like to just close with thanking Rory and others for leading this charge. And we think it's a great opportunity for the city and for the crew.
Thank you very much, Josh. We appreciate your input. Go to Linda Logan. She is the Executive Director of the Greater Columbus Sports Commission. Linda, the floor is yours. We're still muted. There, you're still muted.
About that, guys. Rookie mistake there.
You know, if you've got two of them running right now, mute or cut the sound on that one.
I've muted one. Linda, can you go ahead and test your mic?
I think it should be fine.
Linda?
To go to someone else.
No, you're good, I think.
Thank you.
Let me try the other mic because she's a little low, sir. 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, Linda, can you test for us?
Is this better?
All right.
No, we can't hear you. We'll go to the other one.
Yep.
Okay, Linda?
She's doing the muting. Just try it and see.
Right.
Linda?
Hello?
Yes, if you're able to turn up just a little bit, that would help, but we can hear you. Thank
All right,
you.
thank you. I'll get started here. All right, well, on behalf of the Greater Columbus Sports Commission, I'm writing in support of the proposed Dora. It's an exciting time for our downtown. I would say that no other city probably in America or the Midwest has this great footprint of all these facilities on one boulevard. And I'm pleased that our office is smack dab in the middle of all the action. So exciting for our residents, our visitors and fans, our hotels, our restaurants and businesses. This feeling is simply amplified by the fact that come July, all of Columbus's professional sports teams will be within walking distance of one another at the opening of the new stadium, solidifying Columbus's role as a premier sports destination. Not to mention the nearby proximity of the convention center and entertainment venues like Express Live that often host big entertainment and auxiliary events for visiting tournaments. The Arena District Dora will further enhance the guest, fan, and visitor experience while providing economic benefits for the surrounding bar and restaurant owners and contributing to the overall vibrancy of the neighborhood, which we also happen to call home. Adding an option such as this could truly take Columbus to the next level among competitive destinations. Thank you for your consideration and support and for all your hard work to bring this proposal to the table. Thank you. I'm here for questions.
Thank you, Linda. Appreciate that. And finally, last but not least, we're going to go to Ken Schnake, the President and General Manager of the Columbus Clippers. Ken, the floor is yours. Got to unmute you there, Ken.
I won't go over what all the others have, but I think this is an exciting development for all of us in the Arena District. I think to casually allow fans to stroll down the boulevard with a beverage sure beats the ultimatum, which is for them to gulp something down before they move from place to place. So I think this will really add to the vibrancy of the Arena District. It will enhance the visitors' experience, and it will really have a great deal of people wandering along the boulevard between the three of our ballparks and stadiums, and also stopping into the bars and restaurants. So we've already seen in the surrounding communities how well they have made it work. And those of us running these places, we understand the level of cooperation needed so that we pull this off without a hitch. So looking very much forward to having this, and we thank you for supporting it and working with all of us to try to make this a reality.
Thank you so much, Ken. Appreciate all of your testimony this evening. As we progress through this hearing, wanted to, before we move to the public testimony portion of our meeting, I do have some questions to ask of the department and some of our guest speakers. Some directly from written testimony that's been submitted by Columbus residents, some from myself. But wanted to start off with, we received a number of written testimonies from the Parks Edge condominiums within that Neal and Spring Street location with concerns about including their residential area in the Dora. Rory or anyone else that wants to jump in, could you go over the reasoning behind including this area in the Dora? Muted. You're muted.
Sorry about that. I just want to first say that we appreciate the feedback of our residents in the Arena District, and certainly understand this is something new that's being introduced into the area. What I did want to say is that I believe that in terms of including that area, we think that McPherson Commons is an important piece of the Dora. I think it adds a lot to the experience that we're trying to create, and it is a public park. And we did get the approval of the Recreation and Parks Commission to include it in the Dora. At the same time, I certainly appreciate the concerns of residents, but pre-COVID, we hosted lots of public events in this area that did serve alcohol. Now they did have separate permits, and Jason Nicholson from the city, who's also on this call today, can talk maybe a little bit more about that. But we host a ton of events in this area, so certainly understand people's concerns. But we felt that McPherson Commons was an important piece of that, as well as we do know that in the future, that there will be special events being hosted in the North Bank Park area, and wanted the ability for people to be able to, although they wouldn't be able to take their beverage into the North Bank Park area, that they could get down to that area. So that's why that area of the map is included in that area. And Jason, I don't know if you'd like to add anything else.
Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
I'd just like to say thanks for letting us be involved in this. We're fully in support of this as a new experience for the city, and we believe that the partners in the Arena District, we have a long working relationship with them. I myself have worked with folks from the Blue Jackets and the AD Dora for over 20 years, and they don't take anything lightly when it comes to the quality of life and experience for their residents. And when we look at this particular layout, we've noticed that the city has found events being along the riverfront have allowed us to better manage city resources while lessening the impact on other areas of the city. The Dora boundaries were set up so that it could actually bridge to an existing event. The idea being that if an event itself wanted to activate the Dora, won't use any specific examples, but if they did, you'd literally be able to pick up that buy your beverage at a festival, walk up down the streets, and at that point in time, the event organizers would be taking on the responsibility for the policing, the trash collection, and all the additional responsibilities that they would normally do for just the public park space or the public street space being used. They would actually take that responsibility for the entire Dora area. So we feel like this opens up some opportunities. While we don't have anyone right now knocking down the door for it, we wanted to remain flexible, and we wanted to use the best method we could to try to make this successful. This is, in our minds, this was a pilot project, something worth taking a chance on. And we believe there's plenty of opportunity for ongoing communications and adjustments as needed.
Well, thank you very much, Jason. Appreciate that insight. Roy, you may be able to be the best person to answer this. If there were any changes that council asked to make to the application today, before we legislated or beyond, what would be the procedure? And maybe those are two separate answers, for instance.
So if council wished to amend the application, we would certainly want to, we need to hear the feedback of council on that. And what we would have to do is we would have to amend or update the application that we've already put forward. The part that I don't have an exact answer for you, and I tried to get that information today, but I was unsuccessful, is whether or not we would then need to restart the 30-day notice, public notice to do that. But I will continue to look to see if I can get an answer to that question. But council certainly has the ability to either approve or disapprove of the application that's been presented, and that application can be changed. It just means that we would need to potentially restart the process that we've put forward.
Couple more questions. Express Live, for instance, and Jason mentioned something. I'm not sure if he meant to say this, but an event couldn't activate the Dora under the current application. Is that correct? And Express Live could not activate the Dora. Is that correct?
Actually, they could activate the Dora, but they would need to work with Jason to do that, and then Jason, in conjunction with the LLC that is providing management and operation services, would then need to be able to supply the cups, and we'd have to create, a special security plan and sanitation plan to do that. Jason, is there anything that I missed in that answer?
Councilmember Remy, essentially this would be the same as if someone applied for a special event or a festival permit from the city. We would manage that process through an application and engage all city departments and adjacent property owners and representatives in the discussion. So it would be overseen by Columbus Police, just as we would for any of the major festivals that take place downtown. Those efforts would be applied to this. As I mentioned before, we're not anticipating this. Our primary thoughts is this is going to roll out for the team and the business area. But we have, I think, built in flexibility to be able to manage those situations in the future.
Correct me if I'm wrong. If the Blue Jackets have an event, it's the middle of winter, and the crew aren't playing, and the Clippers aren't playing, you still have to manage the entire area of the Dora, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So I could be down at Betty's, grab a beer, and walk up to the arena, for instance, if I so choose.
That is correct.
Okay. So there's an incredible amount of expense that's associated with, providing the level of security, the cleanup, et cetera. You don't have to answer that if you don't know the answer, but one can imagine that's the case. Question in regards to cleanup plans. We've had residents that contacted us, business owners in the arena, asking about the cleanup plans. How is the city and the arena district preparing to clean up, maintaining the after sporting events, Who's responsible for that? Like, what assurances do we have? Are we looking, is this going to be like Ohio State and we won't see it cleaned up till noon the next day? Or what are the expectations?
So I'll first start on this, but I'll ask my colleague Kelly Scacco to talk as well, since her department is in charge of refuse collection for the city. But we have regular refuse collection that happens in the Arena District on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday basis. And then we also have, if there are special events, as Jason talked about, they're required to submit a refuse plan, and as part of that plan, they need to have things picked up after every event that they do. And again, Jason can elaborate more on that as well. At the same time, the Arena District has committed to provide any supplemental services beyond what the city already does to make sure that the Arena District remains clean and safe as it relates to refuse.
Deputy Director Scacco, do you have anything to add to that, or do you handle it pretty well?
He handled it really well. Roy handled it really well. I would only add that at this time, it is not our intention to add any additional services for sanitation purposes. However, we will be monitoring this in case there is a need to increase the services, but it is our intention not to add additional services at this time. We feel like the sanitation plan that's been put forth is a good one. We will be able to monitor the sanitation purposes with the Dora cups, because if there's a lot of additional Dora cups, we'll know that this is, the additional sanitation or the additional trash is becoming an issue because of the Dora, because of the cups themselves. Will basically speak for themselves.
Well, let's be clear, and I want to set this expectation right now. This really doesn't fall under the Department of Sanitation and anything beyond. The cups are biodegradable and are expected to be to be recycled. They certainly are not expected to go into SWACO's landfill. So, if we need to hammer this out before we legislate, we will make sure and do that. But this certainly would not fall under the Division of Refuse. We might need to make additional considerations with Rumpke, who does handle our recycling waste and our recycling stream, and if not, then with SWACO directly. But this shouldn't add an extra burden to the Department of Refuse, at least a very minimal one.
I believe that's correct, Chair Remy. The way that we have designed this is that the city is not putting additional resources to advance the Dora. But if there are additional services that need to be done, those will be provided by the LLC.
And is anybody here from the LLC tonight?
I believe that
the applicant themselves.
Well, actually, the mayor is technically the applicant,
Okay.
but this was the application was done in conjunction with the LLC and the sports teams.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously a point of clarification. Thank you. Again, I think we need to be clear throughout, and you kind of just highlighted that just a second ago. This recycling thing, for instance, we will not, and even the refuse, this is just notification out there to the LLC involved. If additional services are needed from the Department of Refuse, which I chair that committee as environmental chair, I'm certain that we could make arrangements for additional services if we needed to. However, they will pay for them, and so they won't be at the expense of the city. And we just need to be very, very clear about that. Let's see here. What else do I have on my list? What considerations has there been regarding noise, especially in the areas that residents might be present?
What I would say is this is an area that has had hosted lots of events over the last 20, 21 years since the Arena District's been in operation. I believe that there probably have been times where noise has been an issue, and it's handled the way that it's handled anywhere else in the city. We don't anticipate that this will cause additional noise within the Arena District. But if need be, then our public safety department will address that. One other item I just wanted to clarify from one of the previous questions is, in addition to this application that outlines the roles and responsibilities, the city is also going to be entering into a memorandum of understanding with the LLC regarding the services that they're going to be providing and the services that the city will be providing for the Dora as well. So it will be very clear as to whose responsibility is for each of the different items that we've talked about. But the application, it essentially mirror what's in the application, but might have some additional details. But appreciate the question. And I don't know if George would like to add anything on the public safety side of things regarding noise.
No, this is something that our officers deal with frequently. And again, for the Dora, we will have enhanced policing above and beyond what already occurs at these sporting events.
And Roy, if you can't answer this right now, there is a piece of the last question that we didn't finish, and that is, when can we expect it to be cleaned up? And so if you can't answer that right now, just give me the answer, like what the expectations are. I think we should have established expectations. If the thing runs to 11:59 on a Monday, what am I going to see Tuesday, and when will I expect it to be absolutely clean? So again, just tell me if you can't answer it. We'll figure that out.
So I don't have an exact answer for you on a normal game day right now, but I know that for the special event side of things, I know Jason can provide some additional detail on what we require the special events organizers to do with regard to refuse.
Yeah, go ahead, Jason, if you could provide some insight.
Sure. So essentially, any permitted public event is required to go to monitor the area that they're using, although any streets or parks, but also to perform cursory sweeps, at least a block out from that event to and towards the parking establishments, parking garages, spaces, metered spaces, gutters, etc. Those are kind of standards for our events. Most events that end in the daylight hours, we expect all the trash to be picked up, collected, and removed immediately following the event. For an event that runs after dark, our general expectation is that if it's a late night, ends at 10 o'clock or what have you, that collection be done at the end of the night or by first light the next day. The idea being that we don't want our residents to walk out of their their homes and see trash littering the sidewalk, but also understand that we will have established a relationship with the AD Dora where we'll be able to communicate. If we identify problem spots, we'll be able to communicate about those so that we can address it and send the resources necessary. For major festivals, we always do a next day site inspection for any of the things that might have been forgotten.
Would that work fall to you on any time this Dora is activated?
So I believe this will probably be a combined effort amongst ourselves and those in the Division of Refuse who are frequently in the area, our parks team that are at McPherson Commons. But ultimately, I believe that it'll be through communications with the AD Dora LLC on things that we're noticing collectively, trends, one game versus two games versus heavier near parking garages versus heavier for foot traffic areas. It's going to be one of those things that I think that we're going to understand after we see a full cycle of not only maybe all three major teams activated on the same day, but potentially another plan that might need to be absorbed if we have another festival in the area on the same day as a game day. So what we're working with right now is those who are in the area to potentially do festivals that are going to be close by the Dora if by chance this passes. And the stars align, we are already working to coordinate resources between both organizers to make sure it's seamless, to make sure that both the public event organizer as well as the Dora LLC is aware of, we're going to have enhanced traffic in the area, and we need to make sure that this is seamless. It shouldn't look like that we stopped at our line and you stopped at yours. So I'm very comfortable with the parties involved that we can do a good job to manage it.
Chair Ramey,
Yes.
if you don't mind, if I add, the arena districts, again, we've been hosting major events in the area for over 20 years now. To my knowledge, refuse has not been a major issue. This is something new. I have full confidence that with the existing services that we have and the supplemental services that are being committed to by the LLC and the historical performance of the arena district in providing a very safe and litter-free area, that will be maintained over the course of this Dora.
Thank you for that additional input. I think now we will move on to our public speakers. We do have 4 this evening, but we did receive over 20 written submissions of testimony, some of which I've highlighted with the questioning that I've had. And certainly this isn't the only opportunity to provide testimony. You certainly can reach out to my office directly and talk about any issues or concerns that you may have. And so why don't I go ahead and get started with the public testimony. Our first speaker this evening is Joseph Thomas, representing Whistle and Keg. And again, if you could just state your name, the organization that you represent, and a reminder that you have 3 minutes for your testimony.
Councilmember Ramey, Joseph is not on our attendee list this evening.
Thank you, Miss Angie. We'll move on. Our next person that's scheduled to speak this evening is Mr. Mark Witt. Mr. Witt?
Yes, thank you, Councilman. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be on video or not. If I'm not, that's just fine.
No, we'll go ahead and just take your verbal testimony.
Very well, thank you. My name is Mark Witt. I'm a current resident of Parks Edge and a former resident of North Bank. I'm also a lawyer, and I think there's a legal dimension to this proposal that hasn't been fully considered. The streets and the access roads between Nationwide, Spring, and Neal Avenue, how we get to our condos, those are not dedicated city streets. They are private streets controlled by the Arena District Master Association. And these streets are considered common areas under the Master Association declarations. Those declarations say that the common areas are reserved for the use of association members, meaning the people who live there, and not for the general public. And even the people who live here aren't allowed to do whatever they want in the common areas. There are restrictions spelled out in the declarations about what's permitted and what isn't in common areas. And I can tell you that walking around drinking is not a permitted use in our community under our governing documents. The city cannot pass an ordinance that basically overrules the Master Association declarations. The affected area is private land. It is not city land. Private ownership of this land within the Dora, I'm talking specifically south of Nationwide, also has some practical implications. As I think we've heard today, the city isn't responsible for additional cleanup or security. And I think I heard that additional resources wouldn't be provided anyway. Now, this LLC could contract for those services, but it's the residents of North Bank, Parks Edge, and Burnham Square that will ultimately pay for these services. The reason the Arena District is clean and tidy is because all of the communities here pay dues to the Master Association to provide those services. And to the extent additional services are necessary, the residents are the ones who will ultimately pick up the tab for that. And we don't believe we should have to pay for the services necessary to allow the rest of the community to come to our neighborhood and drink. The proposal really is a double insult for residents. We don't want people drinking in our front yards in the first place, let alone be forced to pay for the aftermath. Having said that, restricting the Dora to Nationwide Boulevard would seem to be a reasonable compromise. That is the corridor where you get to each of the stadiums. There are no stadiums on Spring Street. No reason people need to walk down Neal Avenue or any place else to get to Spring Street, especially if I heard correctly, people will not be allowed to drink in North Bank Park. Yet there's an avenue being provided for them to take their drink down to North Bank Park. And when they're told they're not allowed to drink there, the cup will promptly go into the river. So good idea for Nationwide Boulevard, very bad idea to extend the area to our communities.
Apologize. I was having some technical difficulties myself. Thank you so much, Mr. Witt. Appreciate the testimony this evening. Certainly take that under consideration, and definitely will explore, what those areas that fall under, more or less your condo association. We need to understand that better. So appreciate the insight. Our next speaker is, let me get to the right page, Cynthia Collins from Buggy Works Residence Loft. Cynthia, the floor is yours. Please introduce yourself, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Thank you. I'm Cindy Collins, and we do live at the Buggy Works, and I'm on the HOA, and we are the only residents between the Clippers on down to the Crew. So we are the only people that actually live on Nationwide Boulevard. We do see a big influx. First of all, thank you all for being here. Thanks for giving us the opportunity, and thanks for explaining these safety measures, because the one thing I think that draws a lot of people to here is the safety. We would like to know the reasons of the procedure for cleanup. I think you've spelled out that you don't know yet exactly, but we do notice, it's not just the Dora cups that are going to need cleaned up. We see a huge influx of trash after Clipper games. Now, because they park down by us as you walk towards the Crew Stadium, I'm not sure that anyone gets down there. There's a lot of trash thrown in our yards, on our sidewalks. I mean, we come out and do take care of that, just as, some residents do. But as a general rule, I think it's going to be a big difference with the Crew coming in. And so I think we can feel confident in the organization, and we are so excited to be there and so excited for the Crew to come in. But it would be nice if we had a point of contact for cleanup, a point of contact for safety, so that when we do see an issue or we do feel a safety issue, that we have somebody to talk to. So I think that would be very helpful if you could provide that to us, to all the residents in the area. Thoughts?
Are you done? I want to make sure I let you yield the rest of your time, and then I'll share mine. Okay, thanks, Cindy.
I yield.
Okay, I appreciate you coming down and speaking. Roy, there's no reason why we couldn't do that, correct?
Yes, I think really the way to handle that is really just using the existing 645-3111 line. If there's a refuse issue, if there's a safety issue, obviously if it's an emergency, that's not the number you'd want to call. But if it's a cleanliness issue or other non-emergency items, I think dialing 645-3111 is the best way to handle that.
So I appreciate that, Leroy. We'll work a little bit closer on that, because that doesn't address a Saturday or Sunday when they're only in operation Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So let's talk about that a little bit further. There should be an opportunity. No one needs to be working under cloak and dagger to, make sure that, there's somebody accessible that can be responsive to residents' needs should there be something that goes awry, on a Saturday or a Sunday. that's our commitment to you, Cindy. So we'll work on that part. And then finally, I have Tal Hutchins as the final speaker this evening. So I will turn the floor over to you. Tal, you have 3 minutes. And if you could just state your name and any association that you might, or any group that you might be associated with.
I'm sorry, council member, I do not have Tal listed in our attendee list.
All right. Just to note that we did receive public testimony in written form from her this evening and is a member of the Parks Edge community. Let's see here. There's a couple of questions that we've had from YouTube. One came from Ronald Jenkins. No one has yet explained why Dora needs to go south of Nationwide Boulevard. Again, I do have some further questions on that. We'll be working with the applicant, the administration and the LLC to get some further clarification on that. Rory, do you have any additional comments?
You know, for the going south of Nationwide Boulevard, it really relates to creating the most conducive environment possible to try to balance the interest of residents, but also to what we're trying to do to make this attractive to visitors to the area. And as Jason has talked about previously, by being able to go south of Nationwide Boulevard, there creates a linkage to other events that may be happening in the area south of Spring Street. So that was the impetus for why to include that. Jason, I don't know if there's anything you want to provide additionally.
No, Rory. I mean, for the most part, one of the things we envision is that the park could be an activation for a fan-based experience. For example, if we got to a situation where we win a MLS Cup or something like that, that being able to host something for the public in the park and being able to wander out of the park and kind of move throughout the Dora as a natural open green space. It was discussed amongst the committee that felt like an area that someone might just want to actually sit down at a park bench. And so we were amenable to exploring that option.
And let's see, I've got another question from Mr. Jenkins. There are no restrooms south of Nationwide Boulevard. Are you planning on putting portable toilets in the area? I hope not. Any comments as far as that goes?
I'm not aware of I don't have an answer for you, but I can certainly look into that.
All right. Well, that's all I have. Is there any further comments that anybody from our speaker pool has that they'd like to make before we close out?
I was just going to thank you again, Chair Remy, for the opportunity to be able to talk about the Dora and about the exciting things that it will bring to the Arena District and to our downtown businesses and to our sports teams. And just to appreciate, again, the collaboration and partnership of the people, my colleagues at the city and at the Arena District, and look forward to and also appreciate the input that we've received from the community. So just thank you very much again.
Thank you so much, Rory. We appreciate the work that you put into this thus far. Before we bring this hearing to a close, I want to thank the community for their engagement tonight. Your thoughts and questions play a pivotal role throughout this legislative process. To be clear, this process hasn't ended, and so I encourage you to reach out to myself and my colleagues if there are any additional comments that you'd like to make. I can be emailed at Remy, R-E-M-Y, @columbus.gov. My phone is 614-645-3559. Encourage you to contact us with additional concerns. Reach out to us via email. Certainly appreciate any further contact that you might have and ideas. Obviously, there's some questions that we will get answered before we actually take this up legislatively. The intent right now is to consider this application on July 12th for passage. So until that time, we welcome any comments, questions, or concerns. And we certainly will be working to make sure that, this is an exciting opportunity for the city of Columbus and for the business owners in the area. And we are supportive in general, but if there needs to be some tweaks made, we'll be sure to do so. I want to thank our presenters this evening, especially Rory McGinnis, and then all of our speakers for joining us today to answer these questions. We certainly appreciate you. I also want to thank Angela Burks, Mark Carter, and CTV team for assisting with our technology needs and connecting us with the community. I certainly would be remiss if I didn't thank my team, who really makes it all happen and work together for me. Jeffrey Carter, my legislative aide, and Lucy Frank, my legislative assistants, for their efforts in preparing us for tonight's hearing. That's all we have this evening. And again, please feel free to reach out. I wish everyone a great evening. Thank you very much. Good night.